Hi, I'm Doug Horchak, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. Today I plan to show that anyone can prove there is a creator. Whether they be agnostic, atheist, or whatever, the Bible shows that anyone can be convinced that there is a creator. But how, you may ask? Well, the answer is through one simple yet profound verse in the New Testament. The verse I refer to is in the book of Romans, chapter 1, in verse 20, where it reads, "For since the creation of the world his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse." So what is the Apostle Paul really saying here? In this first chapter of his letter to the Romans, Paul discusses the unbelieving pagan world that the members live in. To add to that, these members were actually living in the city of Rome itself, which only underscored the depraved and deceived nature of the society around them. So in verse 20, Paul makes the point that, in the end, these irreverent unbelievers are really without excuse. But without excuse for what, you may ask? That they have no excuse for not believing that there is a Creator God. He begins by proclaiming that the invisible attributes of God can be clearly seen or understood. But how? Paul continues stating man is left to conclude that there is a Creator by observing what he calls the things that are made. In other words, the proof of a Creator God is right in front of our eyes, being understood by people that are willing to make a realistic and truly objective examination of the creation by seeing the workmanship of God. In fact, a growing number of scientists are beginning to agree. Without a doubt, what experts in the field have learned of recent decades, both about DNA, single cells, and of all life itself, has led many to realize that life on planet Earth didn't just happen by random, undirected chance. And today, some scientists are coming to realize that everything about life in all forms, the information embedded within the cells, and DNA itself, with human beings being the epitome of life on Earth, all point to intelligence, to a creator, a designer, one that we know as the God of the Bible. While we have all heard of the teachings of Darwinism and evolution, many are now hearing more about the concept of intelligent design to explain life. Intelligent design is the field of study that suggests that certain features of life itself are so incredibly complex they could only have been devised by an intelligent cause, not by an undirected process like natural selection, which is the basis for Darwinian evolution. Proponents of intelligent design argue that complex systems, like the human eye or DNA itself, are irreducibly complex, or have specified complexity, meaning they have far too many interdependent parts to have evolved randomly. But not only are we talking about the complexity of life on Earth, but the vast cosmos that we see when we look up at the night sky. The Scripture also says in Psalm 19, verse 1, that the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. In the past century, through the works of brilliant men such as Albert Einstein and Edwin Hubble, we've come to understand that this universe, as vast as it is, had an actual beginning. And that fact is a problem for those materialists that believe that the universe simply always existed, with no real beginning. Yet this realization that cosmologists have come to, otherwise known as the Big Bang, came about by discovering that our universe, which is made up of billions of galaxies, is actually expanding. And that expansion confirms that the universe had a beginning. A discovery that has baffled many scientists, as a beginning strongly suggests both a designer and a cause. Well, if the proof of a creator is right in front of our eyes, then why doesn't everyone believe in the one Creator God as described in the Bible? The Apostle Paul explained it well in Romans chapter 1, when he wrote that the hearts of those that did not want to recognize that there was a God became ignorant, and their self-serving hearts were, as Paul said, darkened. Calling themselves the wise of the world, they became fools. The point is this: if a person, anyone, will take a detailed, reasoned, and objective view of the incredible and diverse species of life on our planet, if we will consider the vast universe that sparkles in the night sky, if mankind will consider it all without the bias of secular materialism that permeates our world, if we will do that, we can come to no other logical conclusion but that there is a Creator behind it all. To learn more about this fascinating subject, Visit our Life, Hope, and Truth website to access our study guide entitled, Does God Exist? You won't regret it.
Verse by Verse is a Life, Hope, and Truth podcast. Check out the show notes to find more free content, like videos, articles, and booklets in our Learning Center.